Dating in Brazil, unfortunately, as an expat, passport bro, digital nomad, whatever you want to call yourself, it's not what you think it is. There is a sad truth. There is a sad reality to dating here as a foreigner. And I want to, in this video, give you guys instructions how to avoid all these pitfalls, because let me be perfectly clear. Even though 99% of expats, passports who come to Brazil for dating completely screw it up, they completely screw it up here. They have no idea what they're doing. They mess up dating here, and they end up dating, let's just be honest, unattractive women that don't even look that much better than the women they could have gotten back home. They completely fail at dating. They get into sugar relationships, all that stuff. But if done correctly, there is amazing, amazing dating potential in Brazil. So don't let the title of the video fool you. This is not a wah cry fest. It's hopeless dating in Brazil. It's hopeless. The sad reality for foreigners. That's what most foreigners have, is a horrible dating experience, a very sad reality when they come here for dating, a big slap in the face. But if you follow the advice in this video, you can avoid all the pitfalls and you will have an amazing dating time in Brazil. This is not a cry fest. I'm going to talk about the problems you must avoid, some uncomfortable truths and realities about Brazil and dating in general, no matter where you are. And then, of course, we're going to get into the actionable advice and solutions. So let's fucking go, boys. Whoop, almost dropped my phone. Okay, so you got to do it the right way. One thing you got to understand is that if you guys are comparing your passport bro dating experiences to Medellin, especially Medellin somewhat now, but Medellin, Colombia, especially going back many years before the anti-gringo sentiment, or Southeast Asia, parts of Philippines and stuff like that, where being a passport bro, a foreigner, whatever you want to call it, is a massive advantage. In Brazil, it's not so much at all, especially if you do make the major mistake that most passport bros come here when making, which is going to a big city like Rio de Janeiro, Rio de Janeiro, or Sao Paulo, however you pronounce it. My pronunciation is pretty good in Portuguese, not perfect. But anyway, why? Why is this going to lead to a sad reality of dating for you if you choose one of these big cities? Well, number one, when you're dating in Medellin, well, let's start with the Philippines. Again, this is not to bash anybody from Southeast Asia. Let me not even say the Philippines. Let's just say Southeast Asia in general. In general, most of the men there are what? 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", something like that, average height. I wouldn't say they have the most alpha, charismatic, outgoing personalities that are super attractive to women. I don't know what the average salaries in these places are, maybe $400, $500, maximum $600 a month. And in many Asian countries, the women want variety. They want something different. They're tired of looking at, short Asian guys with black hair and brown eyes. And again, this is not to be offensive. Listen, I'm just stating a reality. If you can't acknowledge the fact that many women in Philippines, Thailand, etc., have, I don't want to call it a fetish, but a preference for a tall, blue-eyed, Scandinavian, blonde, Swedish guy. The men, too. The men would like to date the women that look like that. Then you're blind. And same thing in Medellin. Again, yeah, that's your competition. Especially in Medellin, you're dealing with a guy who has a really weird, effeminate personality, a super low IQ, treats women terribly, cheats on them, probably hits them, or worse, broke, short, like we said, zero masculinity. So if you can go and just clean up in Medellin or clean up in Southeast Asia, that ain't going to happen in Sao Paulo or Rio, gentlemen. You are competing with tall, rich hunks. No homo. Pause. No diddy. Brazilian dudes are jacked and good looking. And look, all guys in Latin America, when compared to Americans and stuff, they could all be a little bit spicy, a little bit zesty, if you know what I'm saying. All of them. But I say Brazilian guys specifically are orders of magnitude more alpha and masculine than specifically the guys in Medellin. So we already talked about where your competition is in Medellin. There's 65 billionaires in Sao Paulo. There's a lot of millionaires. There's a lot of self-made, hardworking guys that are in the gym. They're covered in tattoos. They would be what's called a heterotopi here, which is basically, a big alpha jacked guy. And in Brazil, there's no I'm black, so I'm different. I'm white, and I have bluish green eyes, so I'm different. They have everything in Sao Paulo and Rio. They have guys that are as white as my skin to be as black as my shirt. And the biggest mistake of how digital nomads, expat, passport bros completely fuck it up when they come to dating in Brazil is, again, they've only heard of Rio, they've only heard of Sao Paulo, they pick one of these two big cities, and they can't understand why they're capping out at a 6. Now, again, I know there's going to be guys in my comments. So for you, someone right now watching this video is thinking about doing the comment, this guy's full of shit, he's just ugly, his eyes are too close together, and his hair transplant hairline hasn't fully grown in yet, and he's ugly, and I get beautiful girls in Sao Paulo and Rio. They all lined up for me, bro, when I went to Rio. This guy's full of shit. Okay, it's like one of like 4 possibilities. Number 1, you're just capping and lying altogether. Number 2 is you're in sort of sugar dating, giving them money relationship. Number 3, which is the most likely, is the girls that you think are so beautiful and so amazing they're like 4s, maybe 5s to me, partner. So like, you know, your little 4 or 5 is not what I would consider beautiful women. That's nothing to be bragging about. That's nothing to like leave the United States and go live in a foreign country, worry about visa problems, making all new friends. Learning a foreign language, learning a difficult ass foreign language at that, you know, Portuguese to come, you know, date a 4. Or the other outcome, which is the least likely, is, okay, bro, cool. Maybe this guy who's thinking about writing this comment, you're a 6'5" Chad who looks like a goddamn G.I. Joe doll. You're a millionaire and you have insane confidence and charisma. But 99%, that's not it. You're either just dating, you know, 4s and stuff like that, or you're in sugar relationships, or you're just outright lying. Because that ain't so, bro. That ain't the truth. I have traveled through these cities with friends of mine that are, you know, these quote unquote Chads. I got a guy who looks like, I don't even know, like XYZ celebrity. He looks like he's, I don't know, he's just a big, good looking, buff, white guy with tattoos and a beard. And he's like the guy that, like, if you close your eyes, you're like, if somebody could take my girl, who would it be? Like, that's the guy who will take your girl. And funny story, I won't get off on a tangent. He's taken my girls before. Not like he didn't take them, like he's just being innocent, sitting back, and girls that I've been kissing or making out with have like left me and like tried to flirt with him, and he's like, dude, like your girl, like I'm like, just take her, bro, fuck this bitch, just take her. And actually, I won't say the guy's name or any details about him, but he did that. Some girl was flirting with me. We didn't actually make out yet, but she was totally flirting with me. Then she saw him, completely jumped off me and went to him. He's like, dude, like what's going on here? I'm like, just take her, man, she clearly wants you. He fucked her without a condom, then got gonorrhea. True story. So you shouldn't take your buddy's girl. Not that he took her. She took herself away from me. But anyway, back to my point. So this is why the solution for the problem is you must choose a city in Brazil, if you're going to come here for dating, that is not Sao Paulo or Rio. I don't want to give away too much of the sauce, too much of the juice, because I must get paid for this stuff eventually. I give you guys a lot of free value, but I have a community called Modern Dating Mastery. It's really cheap. You can try it for $1 for the first week. If it sucks ass and you hate it, just cancel before the first week ends and only lost $1. After that, it bills at a higher amount, you know, monthly membership. And it's not expensive. You can go check the price. There's a link in the description. And I have travel guides in there. But off the top of my head, without giving away too much, I would say Fortaleza, Recife, Belém. Those would be the top 3 that I would say come off the top of my head right now, as like you can actually have a good dating experience there, and you can actually get 7.5s and 8s. But can you or can you not? We're going to talk about this a bit more. And this is something that is universal to the world and not Brazil. 2 things I want to talk about. The more desirable a city is to live in. So going to these places like Rio and Sao Paulo, they're big cities. They have nightclubs and amazing culinary experiences, trendy rooftop lounges, modern, nice apartment buildings with amenities and gyms and a pool on the rooftop, and they're big, and the walls are like soundproof and stuff, and then clean streets, infrastructure. Those cities, whether they're in Brazil or not, but especially the ones in Brazil, but overall, not just Brazil, typically suck ass for dating. Because think about it. All these amazing places to live are going to attract who? Athletes, influencers, musicians, celebrities, millionaire playboys, which are the guys, they're like trust fund babies. They're the sons of, family money and they have Lamborghinis, and they're posting on social media. They're amazing lifestyles. They're just taking stories. They're doing, like the top restaurants, top rooftop lounges, top events, all this stuff, VIP, everything. And to their credit, they may be also really tall and good looking, and all they do is post on social media all day and hit up girls on Instagram, and you got to compete with that. Versus if you do the right decision and avoid these mistakes in any country, but especially Brazil, and you go to a small, quote unquote, crappy, lesbian, kind of shitty city, not to insult any city in Brazil. I love Brazil. Brazil, I love you. Don't cancel me. I love Brazil, okay? I do love Brazil. I got my residency here. We're all good. Me and Brazil, we're tight, dog. We're tight. I'm just trying to point out universal truths. I'm going to put in the editing right now footage of just a random street in Fortaleza that's actually in a pretty good area. This is not like the slum or the ghetto. This is a very average area of Fortaleza, Brazil. And you got to ask yourself, can you live in an area like that? Is it worth it? Okay. Do you want to go to, I would say Sao Paulo and Rio would be, quote unquote, second world cities. But Brazil as a whole, most areas of Brazil, maybe the South has some good areas too, but 90% of the country is definitely third world. They don't even have sidewalks in the city I was in previously to this. And that city is actually the best city for dating. If you know, you know. If you give it away in the comments, I'll delete your comment. I have to gatekeep some stuff for my private community. But that city, again, if you know, you know, I've already mentioned in older videos, but it doesn't even have sidewalks. Sidewalks. It doesn't have sidewalks. It doesn't even have sidewalks. Where do you walk? Where do you walk when you don't have a sidewalk like that? But listen, if you want to, you got to ask yourself, for me, it's worth it. For me, going to a third world place where I can actually date the beautiful feminine women that treat me well, that I desire. And listen, Brazilian women are so amazing. They have the perfect combination of being smart, intelligent, sophisticated, not being, quote unquote, easy by any means, but, with the right guy, once you respect them and treat them well and they've made that decision, highly sexual and highly feminine, and they like men who take charge and take the lead. Whereas other places, if you go for just like feminine women, yes, they're feminine, beautiful, submissive, all that, but they could be very dumb. In Brazil, they maintain their femininity, but they're also very, very smart. But listen, you got to ask yourself, can you live in a place like this? And, for me, the decision was totally worth it because I'm looking for a wifey. And for all you guys who want to criticize and say, why are you running through so many girls if you're looking for a wifey, Casey? That's how you find a wifey, you fucking moron, is by running through a lot of girls and, testing the waters a lot. Listen, I may have to bring a girl back to the U.S. I'm not sure if I want to raise kids, which I do want kids one day, probably by around 40. I'm 36 now. I don't want to raise kids in Latin America, I'm thinking, because number one, Brazilian guys are a lot more masculine than I would say most places I've been in Brazil. But, all Latin guys, like I said, are a little zesty. And just, living in the third, I think I want my kids to be like culturally American. So we'll see, maybe like a 50-50 type thing. I have some notes here. I've already talked about, Medellin, how you're competing with, short broke guys, and that's not the case in Brazil, especially in Rio and Sao Paulo. However, you go to these smaller cities, and it's like a night and day difference, bro. It's almost like I'm in a different country. When I go to a place like Sao Paulo, another big problem with Sao Paulo and Rio, and again, this is not unique to Brazil, is the strictly amount of pay for play. The moment you start going for women that are about a 7.5 to an 8 in Sao Paulo and Rio, money, dinero, as they say in Portuguese, they want your money. Now, full respect to Brazil. This is the truth everywhere. This is not just Brazil. Miami is much worse. So if you think that I'm some arrogant gringo American talking shit, and for the record, like I stated a million times, I don't encourage men to come down here for sexual tourism. As I said, I'm down here looking for a wifey. Sure, I've dated a lot of girls. Sure, I've smashed a lot of girls, but it's ultimately to find a long-term relationship. That's what I teach. And I've stated a million times, Miami is a lot worse for pay for play than Brazil ever would be. Miami is just sickening. It is sickening and disgusting how many girls are doing OnlyFans and, exposing themselves, stuff like that. But okay. Now that we've talked about that, the main point was you've got to choose a smaller city that's not Rio or Sao Paulo. Now let's get into A few other things real quick, and then let's talk about the solutions. Obviously, skipping ahead, one of the biggest solutions is go to Fortaleza, Recife, Belém, go to some, and these aren't like tiny cities either, but like small, I say small with like an asterisk next to it. Go to some smaller city, okay? But some other things to look out for. Danger. Passport bros have no idea about the danger here. They're very naive. It's not a big like scopolamine drugging and rob thing like Medellin is, but it can happen sometimes in Rio. Not so much in Sao Paulo, but just be careful. Don't like have your cell phone out and get robbed. That can give you a bad experience as an expat or foreigner. Price. People have no idea before they come here how expensive Brazil is, especially electronics and things like that. And if you want to live in what would be like acceptable American standards, most places in Brazil, then it's going to be quite expensive. You're not going to get away living, fairly decent life in Brazil for anything less than, I would say, $3,000-ish at the lowest, at the very low one, closer to 4K. I would say live pretty comfortably and pretty nice in Brazil. I'd say you're going to be spending closer to 4K a month. And Portuguese, it's very, very difficult language to learn. And a lot of you guys who think you can get by in Spanish, no, you fucking cannot. Can you have like a very elementary and super like ultra basic communication and understanding? Probably, yeah, in most cases. Can you like actually have, meaningful conversations? No, absolutely not. So how to do it right? I'm going to go over the most important thing other than picking a smaller city at the very end, say the best for last. But number one, get your money right. Don't come down here if you can't comfortably spend about $3,500 to $4K a month to live. Another big one is actually like become an attractive guy. Even in these smaller cities, don't expect the women to line up for you. You actually have to, like I said, become attractive. If you want to learn game, female psychology, I'll give my 1 minute, course. When you're talking to women, the two main things that make you appear confident, masculine, assertive, etc., all the qualities that she likes, is your voice and your eye contact. Eye contact is pretty easy. You just look at her in the eyes, but not creepy. You can look away sometimes. It's not like this creepy, like Hannibal Lecter eye contact. And the biggest one is your voice. Now, is this nerdy and cringe? Yes, maybe, but we used to record ourselves doing cold approach pickup in Vegas. We would go to, public areas where, like the Vegas Strip or somewhere public where you're allowed to film people and it's not against the law or anything like that. And we'd be mic'd up. I'd have a mic with me and someone filming me, and we'd sync the video and the audio and break it down later. And even a guy like me who swore I wasn't making this mistake, you watch yourself on film, bro. All of you guys talk to women in an upward inflection like this. Oh, really? Yeah, give me your Instagram. How come I've never seen you here before? You guys all do that shit. You guys all do that shit. Cut that shit out. Now, you guys don't think you do it. You haven't ever recorded yourself because you're not a weird game PUA nerd like me. But trust me, cut out the upward inflection. Almost talk. Your guys' version of trying to do this wouldn't actually like come off this way, but almost like a cop that like pulled her over and said, "Do you know how fast you were going?" Most of you guys say, "Excuse me, do you know how fast you were going? Do you know how fast you were going?" It's like, "Hey, do you know how fast you were going?" Almost like a downward inflection. But don't scream or yell at the girl, right? But again, your version of trying to like, be like super like talking down to her is probably like a neutral tonality. And the last thing is, get your goddamn motherfucking social media right. Get your social media right. Get your fucking Instagram, your pictures, your video content. Get your social media content right. And for all you idiots who think, day game, cold approach, I just meet women in person, bro, just be a social guy, bro. I love day game. I love day game more than you will ever love day game. I fucked more girls off of day game than you will ever fuck in your whole life times 1,000. But it's a terrible ROI on your time. Certain shopping malls on a Saturday, okay, you have, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Saturday shopping mall once a week, cool. You can go there once a week. What about the other, 6 days a week? Or, et cetera, et cetera. Most women you just see out during the day are not attractive. Hot women are typically, I don't know what like guarded women. I don't even know what that phrase means. I think that's the right word for it. Like they only appear at like the best events, the most upscale places. They're not just out and about. They're they're just not. They just don't put themselves out. You just don't see. They're always at like VIP, private, reserved, tippy top of the best, because that's just the lifestyle of any girl that's a 7 out of 10 or better. They get, invited to those places. So, I do love day game, and you should work on your confidence. But even if you're doing day game, so true story, Austin Holloman saw me do this in person. I picked up a legit beauty pageant winner in this city in Brazil, and it was a very quick approach. She was on her way to the gym. I said, hey, I was sitting out with my buddy, and, I thought you were cute, so I wanted to say hi. And, it looks like, I love your cute little workout spandex. I guess you're going to the gym, obviously, right? She's like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. I'm like, cool. What day is it? Actually, no, let me guess. It's leg day, right? She goes, yeah, it's, legs and glutes. I'm like, yep, you're a girl. Every day is legs and glutes. Big surprise, it's not arm day. Ha, ha, ha. She starts laughing. Let me get your Instagram. Cool. Now, maybe if I just gone for the WhatsApp, maybe she would have thought I was just a charming guy based on the strength of the approach, but I'm not so sure. When she sees me on Instagram, in the editing of this video now, I will insert just me scrolling through some of my photos on Instagram. These are the photos that I use for my Instagram. And you're going to see shirtless photos of me that have been honestly touched up slightly to make the abs a little bit more defined and the arms a little bit bigger. I cheat a little bit, get over it. Super well dressed in luxurious environments, eating dinner with cool groups of guy friends, being social sometimes. I don't know if I have this photo in there or not, but you may have seen it. Me eating dinner with beautiful girls at the table as well, although I'm not touching them, I'm not next to them. I have funny skits. Like, I'll try to act out like one-man skit. So this girl, like, she's gonna add me on Instagram, right? This random guy that cold approached her. And then there's going to be a skit where I'm going like this. I'm something like, I have my phone, and it's funnier if you actually see like the video skit, but I'll say something like, hey, Alexa, can you tell me the weather today? Who is Alexa? Oh, I'm sorry. Siri, can you tell me the weather? No, seriously, who is Alexa? It's nobody. She's no, just forget about it. Can you please just tell me the weather today? Why don't you ask that bitch Alexa to tell you the weather? And then the text says, if Siri was Brazilian, or if Siri was Latina is what I use on my Spanish Instagram accounts. It says, if Siri was Brazilian on the Portuguese accounts. And she sees that and she goes, oh, this guy's so funny. He has a lot of charisma, a lot of personality, along with the photo content. I also have a pinned reel on my page where I'm giving a speech, like at a marketing conference to a room full of 200 people. What does that communicate? Confidence, boss, successful, has acquired a lot of wisdom in his life. Maybe that I'm, rich or I'm loaded, alpha, leader, all this stuff to speak in front of a room full of people like that at a clearly very professional event. So whether you're meeting girls online, which I think is the best thing, in the link of this video, I will have a link to a free training called How to Build an Automated System Using Other People's Time, like how to meet more women by, getting an online dating virtual assistant, having them find and track down girls on Instagram for you, keep track of everything, how to train them on the exact type of girls you physically like, and have them swipe on the apps for you, and basically bring you leads on a silver platter. Because, dude, I got to record and edit these videos, make thumbnails, coach you guys in the Modern Dating Mastery community, as if I have the time to swipe on a dating app, swipe on this app for 30 minutes, and then close that app, then swipe on the other, and open up Instagram, and make a list in a Google Sheet of all the girls that I follow today and unfollow the ones 2 days later that didn't follow. Dude, I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So you can check out that video. And that's, that's the main strokes of it, is fix your goddamn social media. Don't expect Brazilian women to be easy. Overall, Brazil is not an easy dating market whatsoever. So you gotta be, on your P's and Q's here, as they say. You gotta be, work on your physical fitness, your confidence, your charisma, fix your social media, and not date in the big cities like Rio and Sao Paulo. But if you follow my advice, Brazil can be an absolutely fantastic dating market. And you guys should check out Modern Dating Mastery. There's going to be a video that pops up on the screen right now that explains what is in my Modern Dating Mastery course and all the benefits you can get from joining it and being part of the community. And I hope to see you guys in there. Also subscribe. And that is all. Peace out, gentlemen.